In a world where digital content barrels towards us at relentless breakneck speeds, where posts and memes and tweets and snaps rain down a punishing assault of attention-grabbing data, three heroic podcasters with a strong background in broadcast media are taking on the internet. Each week, we break down the trends, technology, and connections that are transforming our lives. We are Things I Found Online.
This is The Things I Found Online, where talented podcasters and me are exploring the internet. On today's captivating installment, we're discussing how to be a happy, healthy couple in our digital age. Joining the conversation are the hosts of the Done Being Single podcast, Robbie and Trevor Sharp, the industry therapist, Dr. Rebecca Roy, and my lovely girlfriend, Wendy Shapiro. Hi, darling. I am Jack Daniel, and here is your captivating host, Louise Palenker.
That would be me. Thank you, Jack. That was dulcet and resonant words found on thesaurus.com.
Words I actually emailed to you last week.
Thank you. How do we share love, trust, likes, comments, friend requests, passwords, and inbox slippages with that someone who also shares our bed? How much privacy is acceptable and expectable within a relationship? On this installment of Things I Found Online, answers await you. Hey, Robbie, what's your website?
DoneBeingSingle.com.
All right. Please welcome Robbie Scharf and Trevor Brandon Scharf from the Done Being Single podcast, along with Jack Daniel and voiceover actor Wendy Shapiro. And with us is the industry therapist, Dr. Rebecca Roy. Dr. Roy is a therapist here in Hollywoodland, and she specializes in treating show business industry professionals. Among her many other services, she offers couples counseling. And we found Dr. Roy online.
Glad to be here.
So let's start with Robbie and Trevor. What inspired your podcast, kids?
Okay. It was inspired by me. Well, actually us, because we got engaged, and that started a whole new life and a story. And when we got engaged, I started a blog called The Late Blooming Bride. And then the blog kind of took off, and I started writing for other publications, and my name was getting out there, I guess, because someone found it from Voice America Talk Radio Network. Mm-hmm. And contacted me and asking me if I would be interested in having my own show. And then I thought, this would be fun for Robbie and me, since Robbie is also a late bloomer. He's a late blooming groom. And that's how it kind of all came about. It was sort of organic. We weren't looking for it. We weren't out there. It came to us.
It's sort of like once you start putting something out into the universe, then the universe says, okay, here's what's next. Let's keep this evolving. And so when you went to him and said, hey, you want to host a show together? What was his immediate reaction?
I had to convince him that we were dating experts and that we were qualified to have such a show and dispense advice, dating advice. And
we were actually doing that anyway to many of our friends that were going through issues. Absolutely.
We do. A lot of people
constantly
just come to us for advice.
And kind of a natural thing to say, wonder if we could take us to another level here.
And what are you hoping that your listeners gain from your show?
I don't know if they're going to find true love or their soulmates. We can't promise that, nor do we. But what we can do is make you a better dater and a happier single person. And if you should happen to find someone great, that's kind of our story. We weren't looking. I had stopped looking. I had given up on marriage. And when I gave up, that's kind of when the magic happened, because I let go. And so once I was able to convince Robbie that you are a dating expert, he said, okay, I'll do it. And that's how we started the show.
That's interesting to me. We're actors, and one of the things they try to instill in you is that if you try too hard and chase after something, you have to let, the mastery of the character, whatever, come to you. You have to basically surrender to it. And so it's not really a matter of aggressively going after something. So it's interesting the way you put that, where you just kind of let it go and it came to you.
Or you just surrender to him.
Or you surrender to me, and that's the way all things should be.
Or what does the saying go? I chased him until he caught me?
Hey.
Hey,
That sounds familiar.
Dr. Roy, please describe your practice, because you, online, you are the industry therapist, correct?
I am indeed.
And so you cater your practice to people who are in the entertainment industry because we are so desperately insecure
Yes.
and malcontent.
There are a lot of disorders in the industry.
Ooh, list some of your favorites.
Oh, yes. Well, let's start with our favorites. Narcissistic personality disorder.
Why did you look at me? It was correct. I'm
I
just
didn't
wondering
want
why.
to say anything.
Okay.
No, bipolar disorder, very common.
Mm-hmm.
Depression, anxiety.
But
The
do
biggest hits.
you think that that this industry inspires those disorders, or that people with those disorders tend to be very creative and talented?
Both. And also they're attracted to the instability of the industry. So if you have bipolar disorder, it actually feels okay to you to be living a life that doesn't have any stability to it. That kind of goes with your rhythm, unless you're up when things are down, and then you're kind of off. But and also narcissists love this industry because it allows their narcissism to feed. They
And
have
if
a place
you
to put it.
if you at home, if you watching, if you are a narcissist, we are talking about you.
Yes, we are. You will probably have a very high-paying job if you come work in the industry.
Absolutely. So what we're going to talk about today is really like how to be a healthy couple within the digital age, and like what amount of privacy should be expected or what amount of sharing is healthy. And I'm wondering how often that comes up in your practice where somebody says, oh yeah, his phone buzzes and he turns it over. You know, what does that mean? Or what do I get to ask him?
Well, yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, every day I hear this particular concern, mostly from women towards men, but it can be both.
And is there a rule of thumb?
Trust your gut. That's my rule of thumb.
But what
if
if
something doesn't feel right, something's not right. Trust it.
Robbie and Treva, can you tell us how you met and how your online behaviors adjusted themselves as you went from being single people to deciding, okay, we're exclusive? Like, where did you meet? People love to hear where did you meet stories.
I'll start at the middle. We physically met at Treva's 50th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
She invited me, and so now I'll back up a little bit. A few months prior to that, I had a very close friend of mine that was going through some emotional issues with a woman he was dating, and I saw that he had friended Treva recently, and I didn't know Treva, but we did go to the same high school, but I'm much older, 6 years older than her, so I wasn't in school when I was out of school by the time she was a freshman. And I sent her just a very innocent Facebook message saying, I'm concerned about my friend, and I see that you're friends with him too, and I'm just worried, is there something we could do to help this person? And she was a little suspicious, actually, and wrote me back and was a little cool about letting me know that she didn't know if she could trust me or anything, but she said, I'm a nice guy, and he's lucky to have you as a friend, and but there's nothing that we can really do about it. And I let it go, and a few months later, there was another mutual friend, woman friend that I saw at Sammy's Camera, little plug there. And I told her I was in a band and was playing, and she mentioned it to Treva that night that she saw Robbie Scharf, and he's a nice guy. And Treva said, he is a nice guy. I'm going to invite him to my birthday party. And so she sent me an email asking me for my address, and there we go.
So you met online, but very organically.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's really fun because you knew people in common and you could call them and say, is he crazy?
Right.
Is he, is he sane? You know, which of these disorders can we check off? Yeah.
And he was a gentleman, and it wasn't. Maybe he had ulterior motives, but I think it was genuine, out of concern for his friend. It wasn't. He didn't say, "Okay, well, if that's the case, how about you and I go out?" Or, okay, so you don't want to help our friend, but how about you and me? No, but it wasn't like that. And
no, but I'll be honest with you. When Robbie married you, and you started showing up on Facebook, I thought, "Ooh, I want to be her friend." So that's ulterior motive. Like, you seemed like a cool person the minute I saw you show up in Robbie's life. So I think it's okay to bond over a common interest if you also think the person seems like a great person to know for whatever your relationship might become.
With social media, it's funny because I guess I was never serious enough about anybody to change my status. And I make fun of people that do that too quickly.
Too quickly,
because
right.
it's always off in a few weeks. So I had never been in a relationship on Facebook.
Okay, so
and so I meet Robbie, and he changed his did you changed your status?
No, not for a while. Why would I do that?
You changed when he
I wasn't
changed
sure
his
either. I wasn't
when
gonna-
he changed his relationship status. I kind of went, whoa.
Oh, he did. He didn't check with you.
It
Wait,
was
he,
probably 3 months into it. Or
but
so.
you didn't check with her first. You just did it.
I don't remember.
Okay, so it's good for us to
Wasn't-
explore.
I don't
Good
think
answer,
I,
man. Good
I don't,
answer.
I don't think
Good
I
answer, good
realized.
answer.
I don't think I said. I made
thought it was a
conscious
bold
decision.
move.
All right, but did it make your heart flutter?
It made me feel like this guy's for real. Like this is not going any place. Like no, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not going away. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Like
not-
we're
it's
in.
not
We're
going-
in.
Did that compel you to then go and change yours?
No, I still didn't because I still didn't trust. Because
She had
so
a lot of
many.
trouble
I
trusting
had some. Not,
initial issue.
it's not. I had. It wasn't trust issues as much as nothing ever lasted.
There were trust issues. There was a lot.
So I
because-
was reticent.
Can I talk about the first date?
Yes.
It's the first date. I pick her up, and I had plans. And this was after 2 weeks after her birthday party, which was in February, so it was right around Valentine's Day. And so I brought some flowers and had a plan to go here and then go here afterwards. And we get in the car, and as soon as I get in the car and start driving, she goes, "Make a left." What? We make a left. And she goes, "Yeah." So we're going to go over here. I said, "But no, that's not where I was planning. We're going to go over here." So all of a sudden, I find myself at a restaurant, 3 blocks from her house. And I said, "Why are we here?" And she goes, "Just in case it doesn't work out, I can walk home." And so,
It's
plan
true.
B.
It's true.
So there was some trust issues initially.
Because nothing worked out.
She needed like a backdoor plan, like an exit strategy.
I needed an escape route.
Yeah. So what about you two? You two cuties, Jack and Wendy.
Oh, us.
How did you meet?
Go ahead.
First of all, your relationship status, is it Facebook official?
I don't think we've ever done that.
No.
Yeah, that does not. I don't
Ooh.
feel that very compelling.
So this is a big reveal. These two are dating. All right.
We are.
All right. So how did you meet?
We are.
Go ahead.
Okay, me. So we were at a voiceover party. There's a Christmas time, and there's the bevy of parties here in LA. I had a few to go to, so I made my way to the first one, and there was Jack.
Me. Well, I'm going to amend that just slightly because Rob's doing it, and that seems a cool thing to do. Is that we were Facebook friends though before all this happened.
And I actually don't know how we became Facebook friends.
I don't. It was probably through one of these voiceover groups where you just kind of become friends because
Or
you're
I
in the
just
same
was
industry.
stalking his
I
pictures.
friended
like
I
that.
friended Wendy when I met her, and we already had like 60 mutual friends. So that's how you
Sure.
know. Well, we're supposed to be friends.
And then there's the algorithm thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just go, okay, you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it didn't get off to the smoothest start because I asked her out that night, and she said, I said something to the effect of, "I'd like to call you," and you said, "Well, call me then." So I said, "Okay, I will." So I called her. I followed up, and then I made plans with her for the following Monday.
He's getting this wrong.
Am I? Or then you tell it. I don't want to get it wrong.
No.
I remember.
But I'm only trying. I'm not trying to say it because I don't want to discount what you're saying. But it was so there was a little lottery that we had to do, and there was a ticket, and so I said to him, it was going to be, and I had to go. I had to go to one of my many parties, and so I left. I gave him the ticket, and I said, "Okay, win something for me," and handed it
She was
back.
already having me perform.
Wow.
Jumping through hoops. And
Dance
so then, and the next day I said on Facebook, so what'd you win me? And he said, well, just my heart.
Whoa.
I am like Mr. Cheese.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I said, I guess you say that to all the ladies, it's just the pretty ones. Anyway, that was that.
And you guys were off and running?
Well, then we set up a date for the Monday. I'll make this quick. And we set up a date for the next Monday. And then on Monday, she wrote me saying, "Well, I guess we're not going out." And I said, "Why?"
Didn't say it like that.
Well, okay, this story sounds better if I do it this way.
Sure.
So she goes, "I guess we're not going out." And
Actor's version.
I said, "Why? We have plans." She goes, "Well, because you didn't check in with me."
Didn't.
And I said, "Well,
Confirm. Didn't
I'm like, do I have to confirm? I thought my word meant something in this town." That's the card I played.
Not in this town.
Not in
Word
this
means
town.
nothing.
I always have to confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But it worked out.
I think you were a little bit nervous about confirming.
No,
Because what if she said no?
No,
and-
he was.
I
he
just
was
assumed,
arrogant.
I thought we were in.
He
We
was-
had set
yeah.
the plans. So
all right, solid lock.
So is
it.
your Facebook status? What's it say now?
I don't think I've changed it. Yeah, but I mean, everybody who knows us knows that we're together. So I don't think it's a big deal.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Robbie, you can speak with him after the show.
I'm just, yes.
I think he needs
just
some
curious.
adjustments.
She's never asked me to, and I've never asked you to. have we?
Will you change your status?
You know
If you
what would
want
be
me to, I'd be
really,
happy
really
to.
fun is if
Honestly,
you guys
don't
do
care.
it live on this show.
Yeah.
I would do it.
I mean,
All right, so you
Would
have
you do
that
it?
to look forward to before the end of this
Do you know how
hour.
elaborately I had to prepare this podcast? Have her do it for months just so I can come on and make
We
you
should
do it
start
live.
this trend of Facebook status changing parties where this big
That's-
elaborate reveal, right?
don't have my phone
So
with me.
we have two couples here, and you have Dr. Roy. Does anybody have any counseling or questions or advice that you would like to seek from the professional? Robbie's all good.
Dr. Roy, do you think it was unusual or untoward of me not to confirm something like that? I'm really curious. I'm not trying to make a big deal
I
out
don't
of
think
it.
it's untoward, but just the pace of LA and most people have to confirm because things change so quickly, and I think that's what most women expect, actually.
You owe me $1.
Okay, very good answer. I have a question. This regards my husband. He butt dials me, and he butt dials me right after we hang up.
Does it
it's
feel good?
No, it's no.
He just doesn't want to
no,
let
because
go.
because Treva, when you hear, I'm like, he's fallen over. There's people stepping on him. He's in a ditch. This is not what you want to hear at the other end of the line when your husband has called you. You know, so he refuses to put systems into place where he would like hard commit himself from the phone app of his phone. Like do a solid exit where you like hold down and swipe up or whatever you need to do to get me off your screen so that your pocket doesn't call me. He just won't do it. Is that passive aggressive, or is that just the way he is with technology?
It's a little passive aggressive. It's also maybe he doesn't want to let go. Maybe he wants you to think there's something going on to him that you concerned.
That is
Show concern.
very-
What's going on?
But it,
Otherwise, he would do it, right? It's a simple thing.
But when I'm driving and he checks in with we have a home together in Santa Barbara, so I drive up to Santa Barbara. So I'm driving and he checks in around Camarillo to see where I am. And I'm driving, and then we say goodbye, and I'll call you when I get to Carpinteria, and then I get this
The butt dial.
butt dial, and I'm driving, so there's not a lot I can do to save him.
Yeah, but he still wants you to think about him while you're
But
driving.
it's unsafe to me to put me in a butt dial mode because it's
Yeah.
the whole car speaker is now going.
Right.
And
And he
I'm like,
knows
"Ronnie!"
it. And he knows it. He knows it's unsafe for you, right? Or that you don't like it.
He knows I don't like it
But he
because
keeps doing it.
Robbie, you have advice?
Well, is his phone not connected to his car, so it's coming through a speakerphone? So even if he does butt dial, he should hear you.
No, it's in his pocket. He's butt dialed me while I'm with him, you guys. I'm with
You're
him.
one of his favorites. You've probably been favorited. So he keeps.
And I will show him the phone. And his phone is in his
Why
pocket.
is he driving with his phone under his? It doesn't make sense. He
He's
should have his phone.
walking.
He's just ready for
Oh, he's
it.
walking.
We're
Oh,
walking.
okay. All right.
And he will butt dial me while we're walking together, and I will show him, this is you calling me. And he'll be, well, see, my phone's in my pocket. I'm not doing anything. But if you would exit out of the phone app, this would not happen.
Well, he just needs to press, the thing that will shut the screen down.
Right, the lock button.
But the question is the behavior. Why does he keep doing it? Because it's
Yes.
a pretty simple
He's
fix.
lazy.
I think it's a
He
simple
wants
fix.
to annoy you.
Is he stubborn?
Because he would
Is he
think so.
stubborn
Yes,
nature?
Trevor. He's a sweetheart, but he can be stubborn about. Because I don't think I'm generally bossy or controlling or anything, but this is one thing I would like him to stop doing. So because he doesn't get it from me 360 telling him where to put things, I don't care where he puts things.
Let
Yeah.
that be your biggest
Is that
problem.
the worst?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
just
Yeah, I
about
think
to
so.
say.
Well, that
Yeah.
and the temperature. The temperature's a problem.
What's that?
Well, he likes it really, really cold. He likes to open up all the windows, and he likes to have it, 50 degrees, no heat. He doesn't turn the heat on ever. And so that happens in the wintertime where we get into that, where there's something wrong with me because I would like it warmer.
Right.
Instead of like we just have different.
like this one's going through menopause.
Is he?
Yeah. It's so cold.
I just I like to sleep in the cold. I don't want it to be. I can't sleep if it's.
But do
hot.
you tell her there's something wrong with her because she likes it
She
warmer?
knows there's something wrong with it.
He tries
We're
to
not
assert that
changing our
this is
Facebook
somehow
status.
my fault that we have different body temperatures and different comfort zones. This is somehow
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah. All right,
It's called compromise.
But he's not even here to defend himself, and you guys are all here. So let's get into it. Like, what is the one thing that you would tend to maybe argue over at least once a week? Ooh, a
starting with
nervous
us.
chuckle. Yeah, starting with you
Okay, so single habits die hard.
guys. Okay.
And I was single for a long time, and I kind of still do things as a single person. Like, I buy just enough food for like a day.
When she buys food, she hasn't done the shopping though since we've been married. So.
And Robbie, he's such a bulk buyer. It makes me insane. I get claustrophobic because he has to buy like stockpile.
And where does he
all
put
this
it? Where does he
food.
put it? Do you guys have a pantry?
It's
very
like
small.
this
No,
big.
I've gotten much better. You
Oh,
have
my
to admit
God.
that. But I don't mind going to Costco and buying toilet paper and having 24 rolls and keeping,
Yeah, man.
22 in the garage. But Treva would, go. She wouldn't have an extra roll of toilet paper even in the closet. So I'd have to, honey, can you, where's toilet paper? I have to go buy some.
No, it's not that bad.
It was that
That's
bad,
not-
actually.
no.
So I didn't like that.
Almost
so
that
I
bad.
would have a stockpile in the garage, and I have a couple in the closet, and then a couple under the sink. So we're set.
Okay, so that's one thing. And then other things like at first it was hard to get used to this creature in my home, like this thing that made noise and walked around.
Yeah, he's like
and-
always there.
because
right?
I'm so used.
Right.
When you get
living
married, that's the same with
alone.
me. I didn't get married until my 50s, and so
Okay.
oh, you live here now?
Right.
Like all the time? Okay.
So it's all adjustment, and
Yeah,
it's a
it really
pleasure.
is.
It's a pleasurable adjustment, and I love him, and he's adorable.
But
and
what I find with men is that they just explode all over the house. Like they walk in the door and their stuff is everywhere. And I have like a little, like, okay, I'm good. Here we go.
yeah, that's me.
And, everything I can reach. He uses every place. He uses every seat in the house. He puts his male debris, I call it. And there's like male debris on top of the clock radio. And like, how do you think that a cup balance? Like, why did you had your choice of places to put this, and it's like this on top of the clock radio? Like with the change from everything from their pockets comes out of them and just boom.
Yeah. There's
And
all
we're
there-
like, oh, it's in my purse. It's right here. I got it. Right here. It's contained.
Isn't that called manspreading?
I was about to say yes, and I call in the bathroom. I call it man dirt. He's got his like shaving,
it's shaving,
stuff
dental
on the
floss,
ground.
and the phone he plays Bejeweled with, and
It's like
Yes.
a cat who brings you a dead animal. It's a gift. Look at this.
Wendy, what did you?
Well, we did these very early on. I'm into like personality tests and see
I love that.
compatibility and all that. We are not. We are technically both the same type of personality in terms of our.
That's a lie.
It isn't as far as our habits go. But when I get clean, I get super clean, and everything gets kind of put in its place. But then, I have a tendency to put mugs and leave like probably like a little family of mugs.
And they're
a spread of-
breeding
I don't
are.
like
when you're
that.
not looking.
Yeah.
He doesn't like being
The mug
a lot
family.
of things,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
not being on.
I don't like being late. She's more
not-
casual about it.
Yes, but I'm on time.
You're on time.
No, you're on, you get on time. I'm more obsessive about it. So it's
All right, we're going to get to some hardcore online related couple things.
Yeah.
Do you guys know each other's passwords?
Can I?
Go ahead, Trevor.
Okay, so we had sort of a sad thing happen to a friend of ours who is in the hospital, and
Tom.
yeah,
I listened to the podcast.
okay, so it's a freak kind of stent procedure gone wrong, and what should have been an outpatient one-day deal turned into now 3 weeks in the ICU. No one had his passwords.
Oh.
He's a single guy.
Right.
No one could get to anybody, couldn't find his this and the dog person, and it got me thinking, because I've never been married, and I've never had a partner, and I thought, this is important that we share this stuff. So I came home one day from visiting our friend Tom in the hospital, and I said, I think we need to do this.
We still haven't,
And
but
we haven't.
are going to.
But But
just,
I think it's
give each other a thumb drive with everybody's information. It's not like I need to
And
look at it.
Yeah.
I don't care about it.
I
Yeah.
think that's the right thing to do with your husband or with your spouse. I don't know. What is there still some stuff that needs to
Protocol.
remain?
I think it just
Totally.
depends on the couple. Like everybody has their own couple ecosystem between the two of them. And there are people that don't want to share that stuff, but I think it's a good idea actually for that reason. And I believe in transparency in a relationship.
I know my husband's password because if he's driving and he gets a text, he can hand it to me and I can read it to him. And I don't look through his phone, but it's handy to know his password if he just took a picture with his phone and I want to send it to me or whatever. It's just handy. But I don't look through his phone, and I don't think there's anything to look for.
Right. I mean, if you have nothing to hide,
Right.
it's like Trump. Why don't you just go and talk?
Oh,
to,
he has something to
if
hide.
you
Yeah,
if you
there's something there.
just what are you worried about perjury? Just say what you
I would love
know.
it though if we all had his password. I think that'd be super helpful.
Okay.
Donald.
It's probably the Donald. That's probably.
He's that
I
vain.
love me.
That probably would get you into
You actually could probably do a good Trump, can't you?
No.
Okay.
So you guys, passwords, yes or no?
No, but I mean, I'll hand her my phone or whatever without any hesitation.
But I'm blonde, so I have since forgotten his password. No, I actually do know it.
They have it so
Dave?
that I was reading some of the articles that David had sent me, and they have it where you can have more than one thumbprint that opens the phone, and
Yes.
it's just whatever you guys. And I agree with Dr. Roy, like whatever works within the relationship, because. And I want to get to this. What level of privacy should one expect within a couple? What level of privacy is healthy, and what level of privacy is problematic, do you think?
Well, I think the exchanging of passwords is a good idea for practical reasons. But if someone gets into snooping or spying, there's a reason. It's either they suspect something or they have some kind of past pain that they have experienced and they're trying to avoid it this time by double checking their partner isn't cheating on them or whatever. Or they might have a paranoid personality problem. But basically, I think the exchanging of passwords is fine, but when you start getting into, oh, he's asleep or she's asleep, let me just get the phone and look, then you're getting into a danger area because it's about trust at that
And
point.
I think there can be some OCD in that too, where you constantly feel like you have to check to make sure that you're okay. And there's really, and it could
That's
be
a trust issue at the
yeah, it
end
could
of the
be,
day.
yeah, it could be a trust issue, or it could be just you don't
Insecurity.
believe that you're lovable enough that the person wouldn't be. So you're looking for something that isn't there.
Wouldn't that be one of those things, though? Once you started checking, you would just check more and more, and it would
Of course.
become an avalanche. So it doesn't seem like you should ever open that door. In my mind.
It's not a good idea. But again, if you have a feeling that something's not right, I always tell people trust that feeling. And you need to talk about it, and you need to go to therapy or wherever
Well,
you
and
go
how do you-
and
how-
actually address it.
Yeah, how do you bring it up? Do you say, okay, I'm having
Come
it
to me and I say, is there
instinct.
someone having an affair or not?
Oh, okay. So that's simple.
That's how I
All
say
right.
it.
Do you look at each other's online activity? Do you look and see who comments on each other's photos, or just that? What kind of attention are they getting out there in the world? Do you look at that?
Yes, because somehow
he does.
it does come up in my feed. If we're talking about Facebook, and I will intercom her from my office to hers, and I'll say, "Really?" or something like that. And she'll go, "What do you mean? You just commented on that." She goes, "How do you see these things?"
How
And
do
I
you
said,
see these
I don't know
things?
how. I guess
How?
it just comes up. So something some activity that you do comes up, and I see it, and I will either comment or like it or something, and it's kind of funny.
It kind of freaks me out a
but
little bit.
It's
it's
an
not,
algorithm.
it's not
Is
a
there-
stalking thing in any way. It just comes up.
Really?
Yeah,
So you think he's going over to your page and checking it?
it wouldn't be on her
I don't
page.
know if there's some kind of
He
like
hired
an
somebody to
app
check
that,
the
or is there a
I-
Facebook little secret thing where you can put sort of what is it when
There's an app called
Yeah.
"What is Treva Doing Online?"
yeah sort of like that
.com.
thing
right now.
yeah right
I have no idea how that
like
works.
in your
but
preferences you can say show me what Treva says and does online.
I think I listed you as my wife, so maybe something does come up about that.
It was when he inserted the chip in your arm.
Yes,
When
I'm
you were
very-
asleep.
Did you feel a
very
pinch?
good at that.
All right. So from Elite Daily, we have found an article
Jack
called
got off
"Here
scot-free.
Are."
He didn't have to say anything. What happened?
You guys
there?
have that link from Elite Daily, reasons you shouldn't hide your phone in a relationship. And they kind of point to how it can actually enhance bonding if there's transparency.
Yeah.
So do you think
I agree.
that kind of sharing promotes intimacy and
do.
trust?
I mean, not if it's forced, like give me your phone and I'll give
Right.
you mine. But transparency is always a really good idea. And, if it's gotten to the point where someone's suspicious of someone else, we're kind of down the road. But hopefully you start out with a relationship with that kind of transparency.
How do you guys feel about maintaining friendships with exes through social media or cutting them off once you become
She's forbidden.
She's for. How do you?
That's a
Is
good
that a
question.
conversation, or is that just something you just kind of volunteered on your own?
Nah, they all sort of they. I don't know. Are they around?
Exes?
Are they?
I don't have many exes that I'm in touch with, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see them in amongst my friends,
Right.
But they don't bug me, and they
Right.
don't. They don't try to
Engage.
say things
Yeah.
that or that are inappropriate. But if they did, I would get rid of them. But the guys tend to, and I've noticed this just with dating, when you do have a boyfriend, they know when to, okay, bye-bye, I'm going to step away and be respectful, and that's how it's worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a sort of a code about the way that we interact online with friends or with exes, or where there has been a certain level of intimacy, but the dynamics have shifted as we've gone on through life and created bonds with other romantic partners, because you still are very fond of some of these people, and what you shared together was what it was. It was between you and this person, and no, it doesn't involve anybody else, and it doesn't necessarily have to threaten your current relationship, but you still have a fondness for this person. But if somebody says something to me that's like a little bit maybe too flirtatious, what I'll do is I'll respond with something that is more appropriate, so that you can set the tone of how you expect people to speak to you.
Do you have an example? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's kind of fun.
Someone might share something intimate with you about how they had gone through a similar experience, and like they're sort of wanting to strike up something that's more intimate, and I just respond with like, "Oh, that sounds really interesting." I don't want to give any. I don't want to give any specifics, because I think it would.
No, I'm
people
sorry.
would know
I
who
did
I'm
put you on the
talking
spot.
about.
Let's forget it. Yeah.
But like, because I really do care about all of my friends, and maybe their perception of how you speak to a married person is different than mine. And I'm like, Trevor, I haven't been married that long, so I don't even know if I'm doing this right. It's
They
like
might
I
not
know,
perceive you that
if my
way
husband
either.
is in Santa Barbara, I shouldn't go to the movies with a guy. Like, that's just he didn't say that. I just don't think I should.
But you have men friends?
I know, but I just don't think I should. I could maybe have dinner, but I don't think I should go to the movies. I don't know. Am I making this up? I'm just guessing.
Well, I'm very fortunate because Trevor has some wonderful guy friends that have become close friends of mine as well. So I'm totally confident and secure that in our relationship that it doesn't bother me at all. As she said, I'm going to go out with this person, go to the movies and have dinner. It's excellent. Have a great time. I wish I could go or something.
But between you and me, Robbie, it could be someone that I used to have a crush on. So therefore, I don't think I should go to the movies.
Well, that's then you saying that, right? I don't have.
Because there's a lot of people that I mean, if I didn't get married until I was in my 50s, there's a lot of people that I still know who I used to have a crush on. So I think I should put appropriate boundaries around that, because I don't want to no longer be friends with those people who are very dear to me, but I want to respect my marriage. So.
And you trust yourself.
I trust myself. I trust my husband. I don't have any reason not to, but I also don't want to disrespect the marriage, because I am new. Like some people that got married in their 20s, I always feel like they have like a running head start on me. Like they know how to do marriage, and I'm just guessing.
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I think they they got married early. They met somebody and they said, this is the right thing to do. Let's do it. And then 25 years later, they find themselves looking at this person going, okay, I think I'm done.
I'm different
I need
now.
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe the running start was for the single people that waited.
I will say that getting married early, or I guess in life, does help you develop partnership skills, which I had none, and I'm learning them right now.
Yeah, as you talked about, it's. I heard someone say that you don't give 50%, you both give 100%. Like, and you both are all in terms of like supporting and encouraging that person, not
Right.
just halfway.
Well, and compromise is the big thing, and conflict resolution, how a couple resolves their conflicts. Do they fight fair? Do they know how to resolve without taking, pot shots or
Bringing up
old
yeah.
stuff or holding on to resentments? That's actually a real key indicator of whether the relationship's going to survive.
how healthy you fight.
Yeah, and how you
Great.
resolve conflict. Your methodology for doing that as a couple.
Yeah. How do you guys fight? What do you guys use?
We just don't.
You just don't.
Well, we do a little.
Yes. of
Yeah, we do a
course.
little, but it's never been not knocked down, drag out. There's been more disagreements, I'd say, because honestly, I'd say between us, I'm probably the more petulant and more prone to have anger issues. And so when she calls me out on it, I'm like, okay, you're right. For instance, this is not a good thing to say, but when I have trouble sometimes when I'm driving, I'll lose it a little bit.
My husband's like that.
Yeah, and and what gets me is she'll say I'm scared, and that's enough to make me stop. But I'm still working on it.
But that's awesome. If you
Yeah.
hear that, that's amazing.
And that you're not defensive about it. Most men would get defensive and say, well, that's your problem, or I'm not driving fast, or that's where
I
we
have
get into
been like that in the past.
Okay, and you
Yeah.
learned from
Yeah,
it.
I've learned from it. I
Yeah.
hope. Yeah,
Because Wendy's really special.
she is. That's actually true.
That's, yeah.
I think
And
she,
I also said that no one learns. No one is actually going to ever learn a lesson on the road. So,
That's so
It's like-
true.
other than take out a gun and
That's
shoot you,
I
so
get
you
these
know,
true.
emails thanking me for showing them the wisdom of my ways.
Yes.
So.
when you flash them the
Right.
bird.
it is so interesting how traffic brings out that, I'll show
I'm gonna
them.
get you.
Yeah.
You don't know them.
What are you going to get?
with your car?
It's not
Bullet.
personal. They're
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
to everybody. Yeah.
All right, so while we were researching the subject, we came up on these websites that are advising people who do not trust their spouse. The technology is there to spy on them. Okay, so let's say trust has been compromised. What about snooping and spying? Is this really a good idea? We have wise words from spyadvice.com. So there's a website called spyadvice.com. And once again, Jack, we have a website that may have been generated with a co-writing credit going to Google Translate. Would you narrate for us?
Well, this is a complete surprise, but yes, I will. Is it legal to spy on a spouse? Though, if you are the one spying your spouse, then you would be longing to hear yes as the answer to this question. However, the answer is no. I mean a big no. But here the question arises. Is cheating legal? Is infidelity permitted? Is it allowed to betray your life partner? Is it legitimate to be dishonest with your spouse? Again, the answer is no. I thought you might have that one. Then why do all the debates revolve around the legality of spying?
Only.
Thank you. Spying was never a legal act, be it for anyone, nor it will be. In fact, spying is an act that violates the laws of individuals' privacy and the rights for personal protection. I'm adding some emotion. Even if you succeed in getting concrete evidence to prove the cheating of your spouse, something that happens to them apparently, your act of collecting evidence by spying may leave the case against you in the court as opposed to the court. Hence, before you set out to spy your partner, be ready to face all the legal actions which your partner may take against you. And the site goes on to... oh, that's you, sorry.
Oh, and the site goes on to recommend apps that you would install on your partner. I should have put a space there. My
Yeah,
apologies.
that's okay.
I changed the font size.
We worked it out.
These types of apps leave no icon on your phone. So in other words, you can install an app on your spouse's or even your child's phone where it would like then disappear, but then there'd be an app on your phone and then it would let you read everything they text or yikes. You can see everything they're doing. So these are the apps that are recommended by...
Well, actually, Louise, unless she's in a bad reception area, then I'm not getting anything. So just be clear.
Oh,
That's
which
an
you-
understatement. You're not getting anything. You'll never get it. That's
So spyadvice.com recommends MSpy, GPS Tracker Hidden, another app that was perhaps titled, first of all, in another language, Couple Tracker, or Find My Friends. And these are apps that you can install on somebody else's phone, and they, I guess, do you guys know, how would you know if someone, like, let's say you were suspicious that someone had installed such an app on your phone, how would you detect it? Blaine, Thomas?
I don't have enough expertise, I feel like.
Do you not?
Yeah.
Nobody?
How would we find the app?
cumulatively,
Yeah.
those guys are 34
Like, if
years
you
old.
wanted
How
to
are you
check
gonna-
and make sure that
20.
no one had ever
24,
installed
yeah.
an app on your phone to track your movements.
And like iOS, you can look at, like, in the settings, you can look at like third party, like, installed software that would be listed but wouldn't show up as an icon on your homepage.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to dig for it. It's just a little bit. You have to be looking for it.
And
I
you know,
think.
Wheezy, I wonder if these are not just the names of these things are probably keyword driven. So if I was going to write an app, GPS Tracker Hidden may have been driven by me looking at the results, Google results, and finding that those words were
Jack.
searched for.
You would have named your app GPS Hidden Tracker, and you know it.
I would have. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I think, though, that the need for this type of business shows that there are suspicious people out there. There are jealous people. There are people that have the need to want or need to know what's going on with their partner's
It's
private life when they're
Control,
outside of their.
possession. Yeah.
Right.
And I am completely. It's like foreign to me. I don't have that feeling. I trust my wife. I love her implicitly, and I would never. It just doesn't. I don't know.
I think if you're confident with yourself, like as you guys talk a lot about on your show, if you're confident with yourself, you know that you are inherently lovable and that you are worthy of somebody that would trust you and that you would trust. So why are we doing this?
This is why you should never take it personally. I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I would say to someone, and I have been cheated on, and I have friends who've been cheated on. And I always say, it's not about you; it's about them and what's missing in them. So, but it's hard, easy for me to say, but I have been there, and it stings, it hurts, it's terrible. But
So, Dr. Roy, as you were alluding to earlier, if you are doubting someone enough to want to install this, what is the likelihood that they're cheating and you should just trust your gut?
Pretty high.
Pretty high?
Most people are much more intuitive than they give themselves credit. And usually they'll come to me and say, well, this is happening and this is happening. I'm like, well, it's kind of right there for you. I mean, I know it's really that people don't want to believe it.
Sometimes they just
So they
need
want
you,
to see the evidence because they really don't want to believe it, and they don't want to.
or they want you to confirm it
Yeah.
because they don't really feel like they're worthy of trusting their own,
Or they really just don't want to believe it.
or they don't want to believe it. So they're looking for anything other than, like, when your friends come to you and they're like, okay, so I really think he loves me, but he called me Beth last night in bed, but that doesn't mean anything, right? Because he probably was just thinking about like a pet he once had or something, right?
Right.
And you're like,
No.
yeah, no, I don't think he had a
Not a
pet
good
name.
sign.
You don't name a pet Beth, no. Which brings us to the top internet list of the week.
Yay.
And we have a tie for number 1. I hope you guys are going to help me read because I don't want to read all this myself.
Sure.
This list is from bustle.com. 7 signs you can't trust your partner. Do you want to go back and forth on this, Jack?
Sure. I am just scrolling now.
All right.
Do you want to start somewhere else while I find it?
7 signs
Oh, I
you
found it.
can't trust your partner. Number 7, they provide you with a lack of information, lies of omission, for example.
Yep.
They provide you with no support.
Number 5, things don't make sense. So they, in other words, they concoct something and it sounded really good in the car to them, and then they say it to you and you're like, but wait, why would you have gone from there to there to there? Like, that's not on your way to pick up. Okay, go ahead.
Number 4, they are secretive.
Number 3, you have a gut feeling that is not good.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
It's the biggie.
Number 2, they tell little white lies. And what do you think that exactly means?
When I ask if you washed your hair and you didn't.
Oh.
What's that all about?
We're certainly airing our laundry today.
I am kidding.
Oh, a pet peeve. I see a pet peeve.
It's true, though. For some reason, I just didn't want to deal with it. I said, yeah, sure. And she's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, no, I didn't. You're right.
But he admits to it. So
I
that's
did.
always good.
Yeah.
But did you run a comb through it with a little bit of baby powder? Because that makes it fluffy.
My hair's too dry.
Number one, they have a shady past. So does that mean you shouldn't date someone who has the future is predicted by the past?
Yes.
Always?
I hate to tell you this,
or does
but
someone ever just turn
they
over?
They can change, but
How do you know when it
past
does?
behavior is the best predictor of future behavior.
So when do you?
Unless
especially
you're
under
Morgan
stress.
Stanley.
But if someone says to you, "Oh, Lane is a player," does that mean that he was a player until he found the right girl, and he would change for me? Because that's what everyone wants
That's
to
what
believe.
girls like to think.
Yeah.
And guys.
Or do
It's not
guys
the case. It's
ever?
not the case. I feel like
Sometimes
everyone.
people
Nobody
change.
changes. Nobody
Sometimes
changes.
change. Sometimes they change. But you have to understand why they cheated in the first place. What is the underlying reason? Was it just opportunity? Was there something deeper going on? Did they work on those things? Did they have insecurities earlier in their lives? Did they work on it? Or are they just like, I'm done doing that now?
How do you
That's
know
a
if they're
lie.
working on it?
Well, did they go to therapy? Did they actually try to do something about it? Did they talk about it? Maybe they don't go to a therapist, but they read about it, or they think about it, or they phrase it a certain way, like, I know I did it this way before, and I know that was wrong, and here's why I did it. They'll have some kind of answer that's just not like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore.
Do you
That's
think
not acceptable.
once a cheat, always a cheat?
Honestly, yeah.
Past is prologue.
I think unless they work on it proactively, it's a mechanism, and especially under stress, it'll come back. It's a way of relieving stress, right? You're in a relationship, you feel too close to that person, it's too scary. Oh, I got to step out to the side because it relieves the stress level.
Also, are insecure people more likely to cheat because they need that validation that someone
Yeah.
finds them attractive?
Yeah, and then there's other drivers, like do they have an underlying personality disorder? Are they having anxiety and depression issues? Is this how they resolve that for themselves? So it's not like a simple thing like you're just a cheater, get out. But there are complicated reasons why we do things sometimes as humans.
So if someone does have a history of cheating, what would they need to do for you to know that they really wanted to work on it? If they came to you, and if they were a very handsome, successful actor, and they came to you and they said, I'm getting nothing out of this, and I want a life partner. How do I improve and work on those impulses?
I've had that many times, and it's about I say you have to address your narcissism. You're selfish, okay?
Can narcissism
you
be
just have
cured?
to address the fact that you're selfish and you want what you want when you want it, and we got to look at what's driving that. And if you really want a partner, then you have to be willing to give up a piece of your heart to someone else and be able to tolerate the anxiety that comes with that.
But if someone is a narcissist, is that a clinical diagnosis that's incurable, or is it
No.
just something that can be managed?
It can be managed. Narcissists are really difficult because they have to have a big fall from grace in order to actually recognize that they have a problem. Otherwise, there's no problem. Everything goes my way. I get everything when I
Or
want.
everything's not my fault?
Everything's not my fault. It's your fault. So I don't have to address anything. It's not until they lose a job or they lose a marriage or they file something, and it takes a bunch of them usually. Before they come in and say, something's really wrong. I don't know what's wrong. And then I say, well, you're a narcissist and you're selfish. That's what's wrong. Let's work on it. And if
But
you
when do
really
you-
want
when-
the answers, we'll work on
But
it
when do you get right to the point?
right away. I'm unusual in this way. Most therapists will kind of let you warm up. And I'm nice about it, but I don't want to waste anyone's time.
But
And
do people get defensive? How do they respond to that?
No, they don't. I don't know why. Sometimes I say stuff and I think this person's just going to walk out on me. And they never do. Wow. Because I'm good at it.
I think it's because you're pretty.
I'm nice about it. And they've
Yeah.
come to me for help. So I go, okay, you came to me for help. You saw my marketing materials. It says, I don't nod my head at you. You're
Yeah.
here for that reason. So here it is.
I also think that if people are spending money,
Right.
they just think, well, then this must be what I paid for.
It is what they paid for.
to be called a narcissist.
But note it's a narcissist, so if it's about them, because it is,
It is.
they're going to be fine
Yeah,
with
exactly.
it.
I have to phrase it a certain way for the narcissist.
Right.
I have to say something like, well, you are very unusual.
Oh, that makes it.
Oh,
I draw
that.
them.
Oh,
I
they
love
love
that.
that.
Yeah, you're a very unusual person, and you're
Really?
very
Tell me
smart. And I
more.
usually don't say things so quickly at the beginning of a session, but I'm only saying this because I think someone like you can tolerate it.
you gave it a compliment
You're actually-
sandwich.
I like
Yes.
that.
It's a compliment sandwich.
How are you with mother-in-laws?
I'm very. I'm a little more. Mother-in-laws can be tricky.
Do you guys want to talk about that? I heard you allude
I
to
let
it.
them
in-
take
in your-
charge at first because they're older and they want to.
Because that's a big part of marrying a person is their family, right? So
Absolutely.
and that does come up often,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And luckily, she's not online. She hates computers. And so
so
that
we
what
have,
she
yeah,
tells you?
we
she's not going to see this.
You have a mother-in-law.
we have
thing?
this. Well, yeah.
Her
I have a
mother-
mother thing.
My in-law.
Uh-oh. What's the deal?
I think on our show, I think I must say once a week. Oh, I'm so happy my mother doesn't have internet
Maybe she's
access.
gonna
Or I'm
stumble
so
into all
happy
these
my
does.
parents are not. They're not regular listeners, and I have to hold back because I don't know who's. I mean, maybe they are listening, but yeah, I have interesting dynamics with both parents. I'm an only child.
You're an only child.
Uh-huh.
Okay, tell me about your parents.
Tell me about your parents.
How much time do we have?
Well, you guys might know my mother actually.
Really?
Yes.
No names, please.
Well,
Let's
okay, it's
protect the
what-
guilty.
It's not going to be that hard to find out.
It's okay.
Okay.
Commercials Unlimited.
Okay.
Sonia
Okay.
Brandon.
What?
There you go.
Sonia
Okay, it's
Brandon.
out.
I remember her.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You may have seen. She may have
Okay.
seen you.
I almost worked there.
Not as I don't know her as a patient.
okay.
okay.
I just know the name.
That's my mother.
Oh.
I don't know her.
So she's a
She did a
pioneer
commercial talent
in-
agent.
in the
Yeah.
voiceover industry.
On camera, voiceover.
She did casting,
Print.
right?
Incredible
Agent.
job that she did.
She's an
from
agent.
Agent.
Nothing to amazing business that she started.
Big ego. Big,
Of course.
and at times it's I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been interesting.
But she loves Robbie.
Oh, loves him because he knows how to has her eating out
knows
of the
how to work
palm
the
of his
ego.
yo. Yes.
yeah, but it's
Always
not.
a key.
I don't let her get away with anything either, though. So you got to.
No, but she
Does she like that?
responds to men. First of all,
Yeah, she loves men. She wishes she could be Bill Cosby's defender in court. She thinks
God.
she's not a fan of women.
no,
Really?
she doesn't
Yeah.
like women really.
And she had a daughter. How was that for
Yeah.
you? Were you a threat to her?
We need a cat.
I bet that
deep.
was complicated.
We're going deep.
Jealousy issues
No,
with her, you maybe.
I think
yeah.
I may have been an extension of her.
Narcissistic extension, yeah.
So it was, yes,
You're her Donald Trump Jr. Okay.
yeah, a little bit,
The
a little
mini-me.
bit. But in the nicest way. Not. She wanted me to always look good, and
Represent her well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see.
But
You're-
but a big person. Would you say that right?
Absolutely.
Big ego, very successful.
Likes to talk about herself and her past successes. Does not acknowledge failures.
Kind of a man, kind of male like.
And how did your
Very
dad?
male-like.
How did your dad deal with that personality?
He did not like it
They
when
got divorced when Trevor was 9.
Oh, okay.
I think he kind of resented her career. I think it took away from him. It took away from me. I mean, really, when she started that agency, she went full time working woman.
And never really developed a personal hobby side of her life. So now that she's not in the business, what does she do? And now she's trying to figure that out, and she's having a
Right.
tough time with it.
Now, Robbie, your dad is also a musician.
Yes.
So tell me about your childhood.
Grew up born in New Jersey. Dad's a musician, but was smart enough to become a mortgage banker after I was born in '57, and moved out to California in '64, where he and my mom, who was an interior designer, were flipping homes way before it was fashionable. And
Wow.
so we lived in the Palisades and Brentwood, and then we settled in Beverly Hills, where I went to school from 6th grade through high school.
And you were kind of a child star, right?
No.
Weren't you in Sean Cassidy's band?
Yes, but that was, that's not hardly a child star.
You were singing to do Run, Run, Run earlier.
What's that?
You were singing to do Run, Run, Run earlier.
Oh, that's right. It was.
That's right.
So how old were you when you did that?
14.
That's child. And that was your parents were okay with that?
Absolutely. Well, it was at one point I was studying for my bar mitzvah, and got in a little tiff at Temple Emmanuel with a teacher, and my father said, "Okay, listen, you're either going back to Hebrew school or you're taking piano lessons." I said, "Bring it on." So it was piano for me at that point, and then I switched to bass soon after that.
Cool.
Been doing that ever since.
And you've
Robbie,
played with
you
a
know-
lot of big stars, haven't you?
A few,
Yes.
a couple.
You want to name drop it all?
Well,
Sure.
Brian Wilson, Beach Boys, Cacao Sills. Yeah, good
That's
people.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to close out our list with a little bit more of a positive list. It's from Reader's Digest, and we have the 11 signs that you can totally trust your partner. Number 11, they share their feelings.
Do you want to do one?
Sure. They admit when they're wrong.
See, I hope you learned something there, dear.
They gush about the details of your day.
They look for excuses to touch you.
I noticed that Robbie and Trevor are touching each other right now. No pressure, other couple.
Are we even? We haven't let go the whole time.
Oh, that's right, that's
Our
right.
legs are entwined under here. You can't see it. And the other thing I will not mention.
Number 7.
Which
What's
leg?
going on? Whose turn is it?
You, okay, sorry. You
share a-
share a bank account.
Number
We
6.
don't do that yet.
Oh, they go out of their way to put you at ease.
Number 5. They drop everything to talk to you.
Number 4, they let you do the talking.
Number 3, their questions don't feel like an interrogation.
Do they? How did you feel about this last Friday?
I don't know. I didn't feel so great about it.
Unfortunately, I can't answer affirmatively to that because my husband is a prosecutor.
That's right.
Everything feels like an interrogation. Not about what I've been doing, but if I say, oh, we're going to Diane's party, who else is going to be there? How old are they? How much money do they make? I don't know. Number 2, they hand you their phone while they're driving. And number 1.
You want to do number 1?
You can.
Conversation feels natural.
Very nice. All right, so
That's a
we
good
are.
list, I'd say.
I think it's a lot of it feels overlappy.
It
but
does.
I think it's a good list if you're wondering if you're in a healthy relationship, because if you can look down that list and be like, yeah, he does care about how I feel about something, or he does comfort me, or we do touch each other a lot, and
Yeah.
it's just all those things where you kind of like your attraction continuously pulls you together in a positive way,
Yeah.
in a way that feels like this is my safe person.
Would you guys add to that list? Robbie and Trevor or Doctor?
I would say if you can work together on a project,
Oh my
like
God.
a lot of things
Yeah.
in the research is we watch people do a project together and we observe what they do. And if there's any contempt in the interaction,
Contempt is the killer.
it's a
right?
bad one.
Yeah.
But if they can work together and they resolve it and they say, I'll do this and you do this, then it's a sign of a really
I
good
think
relationship.
We are finding that out. We
Yeah.
are working together on a radio show,
Right.
and radio show is taking up a lot of time. It involves pre-production, it involves production, it involves post-production. So when we've had post-production meetings, which Treva is not very familiar with, and some comments may come across as criticisms, which they're really not, but they're meant to aid in the flow of the show. And so I've had to learn how to deliver it differently, and she has been better at accepting it.
Compliment
We have a
sandwich.
little
it has to-
Compliment sandwich.
Yeah, sometimes the criticism, sensitivity issue, that it will come up is when we're working together. He wants the best. I know that I'm just sensitive to criticism, and I'm working on it, and I have expressed that to Robbie, and he's working on it. So somewhere between my work and his work separately, we are able to. We're getting through. There were times during the first part of the first 13 plus weeks of our show. Oh my God, we would end the show at 1:00, and at 1:01, and we laugh about this. We'd be, duking it out because we would.
That's good,
He
though.
would have all these things. Well, first of all, during the show, he'd be doing wild gesticulations
We
like.
are on radio. We're not doing video yet. So, yeah.
Stop it, or keep it down, or
Yeah,
no,
and
no,
it's
no, don't talk
distracting,
about
yeah.
that. And I'm going like, what? Because I don't know what.
So
He's
since then, we
talking
developed
about-
cue cards. I have cue cards on a list, which is really great. And we actually thought about making a business out of that called marriage cue cards, which is kind of really cool. When words are not going to express it, we just show this, and it's kind of a cool
I
thing.
have a helpful tip that maybe this would be productive. Is after you listen to the finished product, if you Robbie pointed out what you think you could do better, and you Trevor point out what you think you could do better, so that the other person doesn't have to say it to you, because oftentimes you can hear it yourself
Yeah.
It took a long time for me to get Treva to even listen to
I
the show.
didn't. I don't like listening.
So that to me was very important, that you have to listen to find out how you can improve and how we can improve the show together.
I think
don't
that
like
once you
it.
get used to the sound of your own voice,
freaks
it's
me out a little
no
bit.
longer a thing. It becomes very natural to listen to it. Dina?
I have a question for Dr. Roy. Do you ever have a situation? So you do like couples therapy, right? Do you ever have a situation where the couple is kind of uneven in terms of their professional success? Like one is more successful than the other, and then there's like jealousy because of that?
Yeah, I have that quite a lot, actually. Obviously, industry people, it's
Yeah.
up. One person's up, the other one's down sometimes. Yeah, it's a tricky little
What kind
one.
of advice would you give if that's happening?
It depends on how it's showing up. Like, are they having arguments and they don't realize that it's really some kind of resentment underneath there that they're not acknowledging? Or, is it, one person is feeling left out of parties or invitations or what, what is it? How is it actually presenting itself?
I think that parenting also is a huge factor, because if there's children, then one or the other is probably doing more of the parenting than the other.
Yeah,
and then
that's a big one.
That has to be validated as much as the person who's earning the money.
Yeah, that's a big one, actually. People get real like, well, I spent all day doing this, and I did this, and all you had to do was do that 2-hour voiceover. And yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, so it's like I think validate and support each other rather than pointing a finger and saying, well, you never.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really destructive is saying like you never or you always, because no one never or always anything except
Just
never
leave it
and
in the
always
car.
is out.
Yeah.
Don't say those.
Because that puts them on the defensive. They're like, well, I don't always. I mean, maybe I have once or twice, but I don't always.
You want to tell them what we talked about in the car?
Oh my
Yes.
God! Were you guys listening in?
We had installed.
Did you have
on
your
phone.
app, your spy,
We had our spy
your
app.
surveillance app?
I used an
in the
always, and
car?
I probably shouldn't have, but it wasn't.
I have
used an
Find
always.
My
He said,
fan-
you are never on time. You are always late.
Oh,
I said,
okay.
really?
Never always.
No. Oh, yeah, I said we are
Never
we are
on
always,
time and always late? Are you sure about that?
and I think I am.
He was today. He was
No,
today.
I pretty much am. She's rarely
No, I'm
on time
not.
for anything that we do together.
No, he's
She's
just if you're
very responsible
if you're
on
5
her
minutes
business-
early,
own
you're on
business.
time.
That's correct.
That is correct.
That's an industry standard.
Okay.
That is actually that's actually you're 5 minutes late.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
15 minutes is really where you should be.
All right. I'll work on it. See,
All right, see,
I am working on it. I'm a
Good
work in
job.
progress.
Thank you, doctor.
You guys,
Thank you.
guys-
How
there
much
you
do we
go.
owe you?
You owe a lot. You better start opening your Facebooks and
I need
getting
your
ready.
card.
I
because-
tried to.
I don't have my phone with
I
me.
can't figure out how to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All
Somebody
right.
wants to do it for me.
I
likely
just
story.
attempted.
Dina can help you. She's right there.
Yeah.
We have what's Twitter
Were
trending.
you Facebook friends
It was
before
very
you
cute,
met?
though.
Yes.
He did say, how it all. What?
Before you started dating,
Yes.
you were Facebook friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But just sort of professional Facebook friends.
But does your status say
Thank
single?
It does say
single.
stinky, yes.
Single.
Oh, we need
She's changing it right now,
changing
even
it
as we
right
speak, because
now
I couldn't
as we
figure it out.
speak.
We were trying to figure it out.
All right, we have what's Twitter trending. It's a
Momentous.
lovely feature that we feature in our show. What's Twitter trending? Today, what's true? I don't know if you guys have been watching the Twitter, but what is Twitter trending today is hashtag Nike boycott. Are you guys familiar with what's going on?
Yes.
Okay, I know Rob. You like sports, right, Rob?
Yes.
Yeah.
I posted something on my wall.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
So
Not to the boycott, but to
No.
thumbs up to Nike. For
Way
what-
to go.
Right.
Nike.
So the
Way
Nike
to go.
ad,
Bold.
the Nike ad, just for background, the Nike ad shows a photo of Colin Kaepernick, and it reads, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." So this has caused quite a response.
For instance, is a sacrifice really getting $10 million? Is that a sacrifice? And I'm not trying to be, well, I am being devil's advocate, but he's not sacrificing much if he's getting paid big paycheck for this.
Well, before this happened,
Agreed.
let's say
Agreed.
this
He
happened a
sacrificed a
month
lot.
ago, he
Yeah.
had sacrificed a lot to take a knee because he was a pretty good quarterback who should have been on a team, and he hasn't been on a team because nobody wants to deal with whatever the fallout that would be. So before he cut this deal, he had sacrificed a lot, in my opinion. So we have a tweet from, and you can argue with me. I'll take you on. We have a tweet from Ed Krasenstein. Do you have that, guys?
Krasenstein, Ed.
Go ahead and read that one, Robbie.
How absurd. Republicans are using their free speech to condemn a company for using their free speech to defend someone's free speech.
Hashtag Nike boycott.
Hashtag Nike boycott.
Trev, I have one for you. This is from Mike Lipton.
Can you see that?
Breaking. Local man turns hollow gesture into a trip to the hospital. Thanks, Obama.
So he set his Nike shoes on fire because that's what all the kids are doing
While he was wearing
while
them.
he was wearing them. And then I think we have a
That's a
which.
Oh
There we go.
my
say
God.
no more. That says it all.
This can't be
Oh,
real. That can't be
Lord.
someone, a really
yeah.
stupid person. I mean,
I don't know what to say, but I do know
But it's
that.
kinda
Why was
funny.
he thanking Obama?
It's
Well, it's
why
just
not? It's
Twitter.
just, yeah.
It's just silliness.
Blame it. Why not blame it on
you
him?
know,
Because blaming Obama
It's a full-time job.
is why not.
Favorite
From
pastime.
Steve Marmel, we have one for you, Wendy.
Okay. If you burn, destroy clothes and shoes instead of bringing them to a veteran charity, don't talk patriotism or honoring vets. You're throwing away someone you say you respect needs to be spiteful and look cool on social media. I don't think I read that very well.
I don't think it's written very well. It's like a run-on sentence, but the point
proves
is,
your outrage a lie.
if you understand the point, right, is like you're burning
Of course.
clothing, and if you really support our troops, why aren't you giving that to
Good
veterans?
point.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then we have Facebook feed time.
Facebook feed time. Oh,
I often choose something from a comedian because those are the funniest tweets oftentimes. So I have something for. Well, I think I'm going to have to read it because it's too difficult to read from the screen. But this is from Wendy Liebman. Does everyone know Wendy?
We love Wendy.
She's
Yeah,
married to a friend of ours.
Yes, she is. And they are a delightful couple. She wrote, I'm really upset because I'm on a mailing list for an old lady catalog and I like some of the clothes. So, yes. So you're friends with Jeff?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Have we changed that status? Anything?
We have. Well,
you
actually, it's pending her approval, apparently. So you can't just unilaterally say you're in a relationship with someone, which is
Really?
probably a good thing.
yeah. That's
Wow.
I wonder what she'll say.
I'm a stalker.
I like
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
can remember the day
great.
after my wedding, there were still a lot of house guests in town, and two young men that we know sat my husband and I across the table from each other, and we brought out our phones because we were like, it's not something you do all the time, so you don't really know how to do it. So we needed some tech support, and it was like 1, 2, 3, approve, because Facebook goes crazy. That like they love a love story, so that you get all these comments, and it's like, okay, calm down. This means more to you guys than to us, maybe. But it is. At first, it was like when I got engaged, the number of comments was scary to me because it was like, like too much focus on me for something that I just think is a normal thing. And then I realized it's like, this is why we watch rom-coms. This is people like let them enjoy it. They're not just being nice. They actually enjoy watching people fall in love that they knew online and find each other and find love.
Unless you're single too long, and then you're watching all the diamond rings at Christmas time. I said yes, and then it's like, okay, enough already.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's just
No, not now. I mean, but it's an interesting thing.
I think what you're pointing out, Wendy, was a lot of my uncomfortableness was that I do have single friends and I don't want to show off or anything. I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it really is, and so it can make you a little bit uncomfortable. And then a friend of mine said, just let them enjoy it.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, you're being selfish
Yeah.
a little bit.
Own it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Celebrate
And by
my
the way, our
happiness.
relationship registry is at Broadcaster Supply Warehouse, please.
BSW.
Yes.
We love it.
You know
And
BSW.
I do.
Carol.
I want to thank everyone for being. I think this has been a really helpful show. So thank you, Dr. Rebecca Roy. Where can we find you online?
www.theindustrytherapist.com and on Yelp.
Oh, very good. And Robbie and Trevor, where can we find you online?
At donebeinsingle.com, and our podcast can be gotten at iTunes at Done Being Single.
And I can be found at thelatebloomingbride.com if you want to read my blogs.
Wonderful. And Wendy and Jack, where can we find you online?
Wendy Shapiro, SHAPERO, WendyShapiro.com.
And JackDanielVO.com.
Yay! I want to thank everyone for being with us. I'm Louise Palenker. Please like
Thanks,
and subscribe
Weezy.
and share our show. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.